and play on 2nd and 10. That's his youth right there.
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
So today I'll be continuing with my college football schedule preview and point spread prediction videos with the Miami Hurricanes. So this is one of the easiest schedules in the country. I do not see any tough stretches on it. And besides Notre Dame, I don't see anyone on this schedule that's even going to be ranked in the AP preseason top 25. I think 12-0 is a possibility, and 10 wins is almost a lock. Now, Miami made it to the college football playoff last year because of their win against Notre Dame, and they came very close to missing out even with that win. Even though they clearly belonged after watching them in the college football playoff. So if Miami goes 10-2 and beats Notre Dame again, I'm almost certain they'll make it back to the college football playoff. But if they go 10-2 and they lose to Notre Dame, well, I'm not saying that it's likely that they'll miss out. I'd say they'd have about a 50-50 chance of making it to the college football playoff. And you may be thinking, because they made it to the national championship last year, they won't miss out no matter who their wins or losses are to if they go 10-2. But that is not true because remember, Notre Dame made it to the national championship the year before last and went 10-2 this past year and missed out on the college football playoff. So 12 of the 17 ACC teams are going to 9 conference games in 2026. And the ACC is now requiring all of their teams to play 10 Power 4 teams. So the teams that are still going to play 8 conference games are going to have to play 2 Power 4 opponents in the non-conference. So Miami's non-conference schedule is easier than last year because while they still have to play Notre Dame, which is going to be one of the toughest non-conference opponents for anybody this season. They still do get 2 guaranteed wins against Florida A&M, which is an FCS team, and Central Michigan, which is not even that good of a group of 5 team. Last year they also had to play Florida, and Miami will play 5 new conference opponents compared to last year. Wake Forest, Clemson, North Carolina, Duke, and Boston College. While last year they played Louisville, SMU, Syracuse, and NC State. I'd say this is easier because they avoid the 2 teams that beat them last year, Louisville and SMU. And Wake Forest does have one of the worst home environments in college football, and their talent level is low, especially compared to Miami. But the coach there did do a good job last season. But because it's only been 1 year, I'm not as confident about Wake Forest being good again as I am teams like Louisville and SMU that have been consistently good. And it is good that they get to play Boston College, a team that is going to be terrible again, I think. I'd say that's like a 99% sure win for Miami. So not long ago, getting their bye week in between going on the road against Clemson and hosting Florida State would have been the perfect spot because even though Clemson has been down a while, but before this year, they were still considered the team to beat in the ACC and one of the toughest places to play in college football. And Miami's only true rival is Florida State. And for that reason, it's their biggest game every season, no matter how good either team is. And a long time ago, Florida State Miami was probably the biggest rivalry in college football. But not only has Florida State been a pile of garbage the last 2 years, there's nothing about their coaching staff or their roster to make me think that that's changing this year. And the fear of playing at Death Valley has to be going away because Clemson lost 4 home games last season. So for those reasons, if I was a Miami fan, I would have rather had the bye week before on the road against Notre Dame. Because not only is Notre Dame by far the best team on this schedule, it's going to be a sellout crowd and a large stadium, so it's going to be very loud over there. But it is nice after playing what's going to be an emotional game against Florida State to get to play Pittsburgh and to have to play back-to-back road games that Miami did get it good with the first one because not only is North Carolina not going to be a very good team, they do not rank very high when it comes to toughest home environments in college football. Now maybe North Carolina wins another game or two than they did last year, but they shouldn't be of much challenge to Miami. And something very unusual about this schedule is Miami plays 4 games that are not on Saturday, including their first 3 games of the season, and then a Friday game against Virginia Tech. But good news is they get that one at home because while I know almost no one comes to Miami home games unless they're playing someone great, which Virginia Tech is not. Virginia Tech can be a tough place to play, especially when they're decent. And while I don't think Virginia Tech is going to be a good team this year, I do think James Franklin is going to have them playing better than last year. He won't have to do much for that because they went 3-9 last year. And to have to start their season on the road in a conference game, they really couldn't have gotten it better because Stanford is going to be a terrible team again, no doubt about it. And almost no one comes to their home games. It'll be so quiet there that you could take a nap. That's a 99% sure win for Miami. And the Duke game is interesting for 2 reasons. One of them being Miami's new quarterback, Darian Mintz, that played for Duke last year. So, while I do think Mintz is one of the top Heisman possibilities, the Duke coach Manny Diaz, if Mensa does have any weaknesses, he will know about them. And another interesting thing about this game is Duke's head coach Manny Diaz uh, was the Miami head coach right before Mario Cristobal, and Miami fired him because he wasn't able to win an ACC championship. And while both years that Diaz has been at Duke, Cristobal has had a better team than he has at Miami. Uh, mm, Duke was able to win a ACC championship with him before Cristobal was able to win one at Miami, and Diaz had far less talent to work with at Duke than Cristobal has had at Miami. There's a minus at the beginning of the spread. That means that Miami is the favorite. And if there is a plus at the beginning of the spread, that means that Miami is the underdog. And a 20 plus spread is a blowout. And there's 5 of those. Stanford, Florida A&M, Central Michigan, North Carolina, and Boston College. A 10 to 19 spread is medium, and there's 5 of those. Wake Forest, Florida State, Pittsburgh, Duke, and Virginia Tech. 6 to 9 spread is close, but they'll be a clear favorite. And there's 1 of those, Clemson, and a 1 to 5 spread. It means it's almost a complete toss-up, and there's 1 of those, at Notre Dame. So if I had to guess exact spreads for these games right now, I'd say Miami would be about a 4 touchdown favorite over Stanford, and I'd say they'd be about a 50-point favorite over Florida A&M, probably even more than that, and I'd say they'd be about a 40-point favorite over Central Michigan. And I'd say Miami would be about a 20-point favorite over North Carolina and about a 4 touchdown favorite over Boston College. And I'd say they'd be about a 14-point favorite over Wake Forest and about a 14-point favorite over Florida State and about a 17-point favorite over Pittsburgh and about a 17-point favorite over Duke and about a 17-point favorite over Virginia Tech. But it's not that I think that Florida State is going to be a better team than Pittsburgh or Duke or Virginia Tech. It's because Florida State is a rivalry that I've got the spread in that one lower than in those others. And it's not that I think that Wake Forest is a better team than Pittsburgh or Duke or North Carolina. I've got the spread in Wake Forest lower because it's on the road and those others are at home. And I'd say Miami would be a 7-point favorite over Clemson, but just because it's on the road, if that was at home, it would make it in the 10 to 19 range. And why I have the Clemson spread lower is because there's probably still going to be some Clemson bias because they dominated the ACC for so long, and they've only had 1 extremely disappointing season. And Notre Dame, I'll say, will be a 1-point favorite over Miami, but just because it's on the road, if it was at home, I'd have Miami a field goal favorite in that one, and I wouldn't be surprised if when it comes time for it to be played, if Miami is the favorite anyway, or if it's even a complete toss up. But so that'll be it with this video. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching it. I'll be back soon.